Check this.
Welcome back to Chaotic Strategies. Hey, check out that intro, guys. Look at that. If you guys like the intro, comment, like it, share it. If you want to see more intros like that on these videos, by all means comment. Let me know. The more that we're doing these videos, kind of the more better we're getting with the editing and stuff like that. It's just kind of becoming more of a natural thing. So I love the intro. If you guys like it, by all means let me know. We'll keep doing it that way. So as you guys saw in the intro, today we are going to be going over the strategic building game called Cathedral. This game is quite the gem here. Okay, this is an awesome game. My grandmother found me that game at a local thrift store, and we've been playing the heck out of it. It's a lot of fun. It's actually pretty crazy. Doing some research on this game, I found that on eBay, brand new copies of this game are going for $225, and used copies are going for about $12 to $20. It's insane for being an older strategy game. So before we get into some of the strategies and gameplay of this game, just let me give you a quick rundown on this game. This game was actually invented somewhere between like 1962 and 1979 by a gentleman named Robert Moore, who was a pilot in the Royal New Zealand Air Force. His inspiration came from other games called Christchurch Cathedral and its environs of Christchurch, New Zealand. As he was flying around and in the air over New Zealand, there's actually a pretty big cathedral over where he was at, and he actually got the inspiration by looking down and just seeing how all the buildings and everything were kind of interlocked around this main cathedral over there in New Zealand. So that kind of sparked an envision, I guess, in him, or an epiphany, to make a board game that kind of resembled that. You have two players, you have your cathedral in the center, and you build around that and try to take over territories. So once he kind of got it where he wanted, about 1979, Moore presented a prototype version of the game to Brightway Products, which was a New Zealand wooden toy company. So the original versions of this game were actually made out of wood. Now there were actually two versions of this game. One was the formal piece, so it is kind of what it is now. You have three-dimensional building pieces that laid out. You had a checkered board that was kind of laid out, and you lay them on that checkered board. And the other one was considered the abstract piece, which was just consisting of two-dimensional square wooden pieces that you kind of just place on the board around your one central cathedral piece. So the formal pieces, which you see now, those proved to be the most selling. People really enjoyed those, which I would have to agree with. They're just intricate pieces. They're actual buildings, just kind of gives it a nice feel to the play style of the game. So in 1986 is when Mattel remade the game. They made a plastic version of the game with molded plastic pieces, and instead of just being a flat checkered board, they actually made a interlocking system, an interlocking brick system, so that way you don't have to worry about any of the pieces moving as gameplay. They added castle walls around the board, just kind of gave it a real medieval look to it. So it's been pretty widely accepted that the concept of the game is not subject to copyright, but the name and specific wording of the rules and gameplay are actually copyrighted from 1998 by Crisbo IP Holdings Limited. So that's just, I mean, it's kind of normal, you're using a different company, to print out the rule books and stuff like that. Not all the companies, create all the same aspects of the game. So just like with the plastic moldings and stuff, Mattel probably has a separate company that they use to build those moldings. So they are probably the ones that carry the rights to the buildings themselves, probably not Mattel. I'm not sure how all that works. I'm not in that business, so I couldn't really tell you. That's that's just kind of my thought of it. So before we get into kind of the rules and how it all works, there's actually, I mean, right off the bat, somebody by the name of Tom Lehman, he's a ludologist. He says that this game is actually broken. Now, he doesn't go into details explaining how the move works because he doesn't want to ruin the game, but according to him, there is a play that the first player can make that the second player just absolutely cannot counter no matter what. He calls it a fork move. So by playing the game, I kind of assume, which we'll get into when I show you how the gameplay works, there's a piece that has two ended openings on there, and I'm assuming that this play has something to do with that. So you can kind of build a territory, block your opponent on your first turn, and no matter what they do, they can't block it. So not sure exactly how that works. I kind of have an idea, but I'm not going to show you my idea on how that works either because I don't want to ruin the game for anybody else. Rules of this game are very simple. This is a two-person game. The whole object is to build territories on the board and control as much as possible. So when you start getting into the game, the person with the lowest score wins, which I'll break down here in a second how that works. So the whole object is, like I said, you build territories. You can block your opponent with these territories. You can build territories around your opponent's buildings and remove those from that territory. You can build territories around the cathedral, remove the cathedral, so that way you have more open space. So with that, we're going to jump over to the deduction table, and I'm going to show you guys how to play the game, some strategies that you can use for the game, and just kind of go into more detail with the rules of the game. And so that way, if you guys decide you want to buy this game or try to find this game to have a family game night, we're still dealing with the problems that we're dealing in the world today with quarantine and stuff. By all means, this will kind of give you the one-up to winning your next family game night. Alrighty guys, so this is what our game board looks like for Cathedral. So each player has 14 pieces. You have a light side and you have a dark side. So our light side is going to be consisted of our gray pieces here, and our dark side are going to be consisted of our red pieces. And this here is our Cathedral. So whoever picks, this is a best 2 out of 3. So whoever picks the light pieces first, those are the people that go first, okay? That side goes first. So that side also gets to choose where on the board the cathedral goes. Just for this video, I'm going to place it somewhat there in the center. Once they place the cathedral, your second opponent places the first piece on the board. So I'm just going to kind of do a mock-up here just to kind of show what it's like to take some of these territories over and go this route. So I'm going to go ahead and move that over here. So when we make our territory, in order to have a full territory, so this is what it looks like here. You have to have a solid 1 square by 1 square all the way around in order to make this your territory. So if we had something like this and then we did something like this where it connected, this would not count because our piece here is adjacent. It's not sitting up here in that row to block it all off. So once you have your territory set up, your opponent cannot place anything inside your territory. Only you can place inside your territory. So let's say you had an opponent's building inside there and you finished your territory. You would now remove their territory out, or their building piece outside of there, return it back to them, and then they can continue placing pieces as they go. So the game continues on just like this. So if you had the cathedral inside there as well, which I didn't make that big enough, but if you had the cathedral inside, you would remove the cathedral from game, and that gives you a lot more space that you can build here and get your territories built. So the game will go back and forth playing one piece each until you can't place any more pieces. So once that happens, you tally up your remaining pieces. So let's say The white piece has this 90-degree piece left, and red had this courtyard piece left. So you would tally those up by counting the squares. So this would cover 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. This piece is going to cover 1, 2, 3, 4 squares there as well. So it's a tie. So then you would end up playing again. The person with the lowest score at the end of the match wins the game. Very straightforward, very simple. It's kind of like playing Tetris with 2 players. It's very fun, very simple. One of the strategies that I really like with this game is that by removing this piece here, you can actually use the bordering castle walls here as part of your territory. That gives you more building space. Now your opponent can do the same thing too. Now, if you built a territory around, let's say, 2 of your opponent's pieces, they stay there. Okay, they have more pieces, that's just part of the rules. Those pieces stay there, they count as space. If they have more than 1 piece inside your territory, they stay there. If they have the cathedral and 1 piece and you build territory around that, both stay. Okay, you can only have 1 piece get removed from the game once you build your territory. And that's pretty much it. I mean, this game is very simple, but it requires a lot of thinking. There's really very few strategies that you can really utilize. The one strategy that I found out by playing this game is play your big pieces first. If you can play your big pieces first, especially if you're going first, play your big pieces first. That's going to really set you up on a border. So your biggest pieces are going to be this little jagged piece here, your castle wall, and be another courtyard there and another courtyard here. Those are going to be the biggest pieces that you've got. You could probably even consider this 4x4 square courtyard as one of your biggest pieces as well. Play those first. Start getting your territory set up. Now your opponent's probably going to do the same thing. When I was playing this with my kids caught on that I was playing my bigger pieces first. Well, they started doing the same thing, and then we had a really good game going because it got harder and harder to start placing pieces around the board. So with that, like I said, there's not a whole lot to this game. It's very simple. It's very fun. My kids and I sat down. We played this game for hours the other night. Just hours. And we were having a blast playing this game. Again, best 2 out of 3. The win condition is going to be the person who has the lowest score after counting up pieces remaining at the end of the game. If you don't have any pieces remaining, you get a 0. And that's the lowest you can go. You can't go negative numbers. Alrighty guys, and that is Cathedral. Very simple, very straightforward. It just requires some thinking, just like playing Tetris, but with 2 players. So again, very, like I said, very fun, and very just a simple game. My kids, they're all very young kids, elementary school kids, and I mean, they enjoyed it. They loved playing the game. So if you guys get a chance, buy this game. If you see it, buy it. Have fun. Your kids will enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. It makes you think outside the box a little bit. It's just a fantastic game. So I hope you guys enjoyed our video. As always, like, subscribe, share. If you hit our logo at the end of the video, that'll automatically subscribe you to our channel. Hit the notification bell so that way you guys are always staying up to date on all the videos that we post. And we will see you in next week's video. Stay safe. Wash your hands.